Right now at 10, domestic violence deaths in Wisconsin are on the rise. A Monroe County mom wants justice. And out of order, the judge forces the Waukesha Christmas parade suspect who's representing himself to do it from another room. Plus, help where it's needed most. The charities you can trust to use your donations for hurricane relief.
You're watching WKBT La Crosse. This is News 8 Now at 10.
Good evening and thanks for joining us for News 8 Now at 10. I'm Amy DuPont. 80 Wisconsinites lost their lives to domestic violence last year. According to the most recent statistics, that is a nearly 18% increase from just the year before. News 8 Now's Rob Romano spoke to a Monroe County mom who wants justice for her daughter.
This was 2 years in me asking for help. This isn't new.
Nikki Latimer, mother of the late 32-year-old Sarah Latimer, says she went to law enforcement for years because she was concerned about her daughter, Sarah Latimer's safety. She says her daughter's boyfriend, 32-year-old Sean Hawk, was beating her.
We need more. We need some kind of protocol to help people like this. You knew about this. This has been ongoing. Something could have been set in place for Sarah.
According to a criminal complaint, numerous prior calls for service were made to the residence of Hawk and Sarah Latimer prior to Latimer's death. Hawk had a history of domestic abuse and had been convicted on April 13th for a previous incident involving Latimer in March 2021. Latimer alleges that an officer with the Sparta Police Department suspected that Hawk was going to kill her daughter before the incident actually happened.
The cop told me on the phone he is going to kill her if she doesn't get out.
Earlier, Latimer's mother showed me pictures of her late daughter's face, which was swollen after being severely bruised. Latimer had previously suffered a stroke in 2010 and was prone to seizures. Latimer's mother says police need to be trained to help domestic abuse victims, even if they don't ask for it. She says law enforcement and adult protective services need better communication so they can know which citizens are most vulnerable to being hurt.
Something should pop up that, yes, they are a person at risk. And that goes along with me talking to the police until that point so many times, several officers, adult protective services, where people could work together.
In Richland Center, Rob Romano, News 8 Now.
According to the 2021 statewide domestic violence report, 84.5% of perpetrators were male. 67% of the homicide listed firearm as the weapon, and more than a third of the perpetrators who used a gun were not legally allowed to own a firearm in Wisconsin. Well, October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and the Reach Center hosted a Dare to Self-Care event today. It included self-care stations, therapy dogs, and shopping from female LGBTQ vendors and vendors of color. Event organizers say self-care and mental health are important parts of domestic violence awareness.
Our mental health is so incredibly important to us, whether we are victims and survivors of abuse or not, but even more so when you're experiencing trauma in your life, whether it was in the past or currently. So just taking a few moments for yourself.
If you or someone you know is in a domestic abuse situation, help is available. You can contact New Horizons hotline at 800-231-0066.
Well, after a beautiful Oktoberfest weekend across the region, a pleasant start to the new work week. Highs today around 71 degrees in La Crosse and Sparta, 70 in Winona, 68 in Eau Claire, 72 in Black River Falls, and 69 in Viroqua. We have a kind of a partly cloudy sky, some high and mid-level clouds. That's what you see on the satellite imagery there. Any rain showers are either far northeastern parts of the state or well to our west across the Dakotas and stretching back into Nebraska, far northwestern Minnesota as well. Current temperatures not all that chilly for this time of year and this time of night. 56 degrees in La Crosse, 52 in Eau Claire, some mid to upper 40s in Sparta, Volkfield, down towards the Dells, and Madison, also Boscobel at 48. So partly cloudy tonight, not overly cool, fairly light winds as well. Lows in La Crosse right around 50 degrees. Temperatures will range from the mid 40s to lower 50s across the region. Schoolcast for tomorrow, kind of a mix of clouds and sun through the day. 51 at 7 a.m., 66 by lunchtime. Afternoon highs above average once again, right around 73 here in La Crosse. Now I do have some much cooler temperatures in store for later this week. All the details of my 8-day forecast in just a few minutes.
All right, thanks, Bill. The Sparta massage therapist charged with sexually assaulting his female clients wants a preliminary hearing. That means the prosecution must show a reason to believe Ethan Karls probably committed a felony. The 30-year-old is charged with assaulting 4 female clients during the time he worked at Peak Performance Chiropractic. Now, Karls is free on bond. He called into his court hearing today, but he will be required to appear in person at his next hearing. The Waukesha Christmas Parade trial is off to a rocky start. Jury selection was supposed to begin at 8:30 this morning, but the court didn't get around to questioning potential jurors until well into the afternoon. The defendant, Daryl Brooks, is representing himself, but is participating in jury selection from another room. That's because he spent a better part of his morning interrupting the judge.
Mr. Brooks, can you right now, sitting where you are, pledge to this court not to disrupt the jury selection process?
You know good and well why we're having issues.
Mr. Brooks, we're having issues because of you.
Brooks repeatedly asked the judge to identify herself, and she did give him copies of her oath of office. A judge reduced the bond of the La Crosse teenager charged with attempted homicide by more than half. Jackson Greengrass has been held on $75,000 cash. Back in May, he and 15-year-old Storm Vondrashek went to the home of Sage Hickey. Hickey shot and killed Vondrashek, and he is charged with homicide. However, he was released on $10,000 bond. Prosecutors say Greengrass fired a gun at the scene. His attorney asked the judge to lower his bond to $10,000 as well. Vondrashek's mom also asked the judge to lower Greengrass's bond so he could be released like the suspect charged with killing her son.
If Sage is able to be out, the person who actually shot and killed my son, then I think it's more than reasonable to ask that Jackson have that same opportunity.
Prosecutors argued against lowering Greengrass's bond because he hid from police for weeks. The judge did rule in favor of reducing his bond from $75,000 to $20,000. It took almost 2 years of debate in the legislature, but Minnesota workers are now days away from receiving hero pay. More than 1 million people will receive a check for $487, a reward for working through the pandemic. Among those getting checks, healthcare workers, grocery store employees, law enforcement, and school employees. The first checks will be arriving in bank accounts in the next 7 to 10 days. La Crosse's Racial Equity Committee team wants your help. It launched a survey to better understand how people use city services like police and fire, libraries and voting facilities, and how comfortable they feel using them. The survey also asked people if they think the city is inclusive. The Racial Equity team will use those findings to create an equity action plan. Paper copies of the survey are available at City Hall. We're going to post a link to the online survey at news8000.com. A Ho-Chunk artist will be remembered for generations to come. UWL officially dedicated its Center for the Arts to Ho-Chunk sculptor Truman Lowe. The late artist got his start at UWL and went on to become internationally acclaimed. The UWL campus occupies Ho-Chunk land, and Lowe's daughter says this dedication will be powerful for Native students.
Representation matters, and so if you're a Native student coming onto campus and you see that the Center of the Arts is named after a Ho-Chunk artist and educator, I think it says the university is basically saying, we see you and we believe in you.
Lowe says that her dad had a special place in his heart for UWL. He is the first person of color with a UWL building named in his honor. La Crosse's MTU is going mobile. Bus riders can now download a mobile bus pass app to their phone, buy passes, and then get on the bus using a QR code. MTU officials say it can make getting on the bus faster.
They don't have to dig out of their wallet, get their bus pass. They can just load up the QR code and be ready to go. There's a scanner on the bus, and you'll hear it beep, and the scanner will go green, and then you're good to go.
To find the app, search MTU Mobile Pay in your phone's App Store or Google Play. Coming up, the World Dairy Expo returns to Madison. The moving exhibits and animals from around the globe. And later, how long do you hang on to leftovers? A Wisconsin man is selling the burgers he got more than 30 years ago, and people are lining up to buy them.
We're paying more for food, gas, and rent. But Tony Evers wants to take even more of our money. He tried to raise the gas tax by 20% and double the tax on our heating bills. Evers wanted to use our tax dollars to pay people who refuse to work. And he wanted to give taxpayer-funded benefits to those who entered our country illegally. Evers even opposed drug testing for those getting welfare. We just can't afford 4 more years of Tony Evers.
Now's the time to get a great deal on taking care of your property. You need tractors rated #1 in durability and owner experience so you can do it all and do it right. Z-Series mowers that deliver a quality cut, and Sidekick utility vehicles where durability meets speed. Right now, bring home the Kubota BX Series for 0 down, 0% APR for 60 months, plus save up to $700.
On crime, Tony Evers broke his promise. Evers released hundreds of violent criminals from prison. Murderers, child rapists, back on our streets. Evers broke his promise. Now we're less safe than ever.
Tim Michels took an oath to protect America, and that's what he'll do as governor. Michels will put more police on the street, fire weak prosecutors, and keep criminals behind bars. Strength and leadership. Tim Michels for governor.
The World Dairy Expo returns to Madison this week, which means you have a chance to see cows from all over the country and the latest innovations in the dairy industry. Dairy producers, organizers, and enthusiasts gather every year for exhibits, contests, and much more. Organizers are excited to bring the global dairy industry together.
So we're expecting international visitors. We've got 650 companies in a trade show. We've got cow show action here on the Clark Shavings where we're standing. And yesterday, of course, we started with youth contests.
The expo runs through Friday at the Alliant Energy Center. Well, heads up for cheese lovers who shop at Hy-Vee. The grocery store chain is recalling 8 of its products, including brie, cheese boards, and baskets, because those products may be contaminated with listeria. As of today, though, Hy-Vee has not received any reports of illness. A Monroe County business is expanding. Cardinal Glass Industries is not only bigger, the facility includes new technology. Cardinal makes insulated glass for windows, and this kind of work can lead to on-the-job injuries. However, the new machines will lead to less lifting and pushing and pulling, which will also decrease safety hazards.
They are the people in the background that are really doing all of the work to get the facility up, to get equipment installed, and to get the equipment running the way we need it, right? To make our process the most efficient as possible. And the people of Toma IG are the ones that are really making the difference.
The expanded facility took about 1.5 years to build. Well, the fest is over, but the celebration of the people who make Oktoberfest great is still going strong. A huge crowd attended today's Ladies' Day luncheon. Past Mrs. Oktoberfest winners, their families, and past Festmasters came together to honor the Mrs. O's and their accomplishments. A former Miss Lacrosse Oktoberfest also shared her story of how deeply Oktoberfest influenced her life and how much she loves celebrating everything and everyone the fest honors.
A bit like a wedding or a homecoming. I mean, we see people that we don't see at other times of the year, and it just feels so good to be home. Fest is truly family.
Missy says no matter how busy her schedule is, she always makes time for Oktoberfest. Well, coming up next, help after a hurricane, the advice from the Better Business Bureau on choosing a worthy charity.
And I'm Chief Meteorologist Bill Grawl. We've got a couple more mild days in store, but boy, some big changes later this week. I'll have all the details with my 8-day forecast after the break.
Thank you for watching News 8 Lacrosse. Here are tonight's winning Powerball numbers.
Derek Van Orden, former U.S. Navy SEAL. Over 20 years of active duty, defending America in hostile territory. 5 combat tours, hundreds of missions, sea, air, and land. Now, he's on the most important no-fail mission of his life.
Saving America for my grandchildren and yours.
Grandpa, we're just going to the park.
Yes, we are. You guys ready? Yeah! Derek Van Orden and I approve this mission and this message.
At Excel Energy, we're big into the little things. Because little things add up. Millions of even the smallest steps are just that. Millions of steps, all in the right direction. That's why we have programs that save you money, all of which add up to a carbon-free future. See how you can save at excelenergy.com/ways to save.
Long before women could vote,
Wisconsin politicians wrote a law that banned abortion and jailed doctors who performed them.
The 1849 law is an exact mirror of my position.
Tim Michels would ban abortion, even in cases of rape or incest, and send doctors to jail for performing them. It's not 1849 anymore, and while we might not have been able to vote back then, we sure can now.
Dear gas prices, Toyota's hybrid lineup says, go take a hike, because we bring efficiency with power and savings with style. Think you can stand in our way? We got this. Toyota Hybrids.
Every new Toyota comes with Toyota Care, our no-cost maintenance plan with roadside assistance. Find yours at Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
Ron Johnson's at it again, lying about my taxes. Let's be clear, my taxes are paid in full, but there were times I was getting by on peanut butter sandwiches. And that's why I support a tax cut for the middle class. Put more money in your pockets, because I know how hard you work. But Johnson used his Senate seat to write a loophole that gave huge tax cuts to himself and his biggest donors, leaving us with crumbs. And that's how we get left behind. I'm Mandela Barnes, and I approve this message.
Fall Home Show going on now at the Bourne Store. Visit today and see what's new and get your $250 discount coupon. Register for prizes and visit with designers. Hope to see you soon.
The damage left behind by Hurricane Ian is extraordinary, and many people will need help. News 8 Now's Stu Esrar found out one nonprofit says the best way to donate is by donating money.
When disaster strikes, nationwide, people look for ways to help.
The generosity of our local communities is so important, and it's evident when disasters like this happen.
Along with people looking to donate are people looking to take advantage.
Anytime that there is a disaster or tragedy, we see a lot of scammers come out of the woodwork.
According to Better Business Bureau Director of Investigations Lisa Schiller, following Hurricane Ian, scams are on the rise.
Generally by creating fake websites, creating websites with charity names that are very similar.
Schiller encourages people to donate to charities that are in Florida and South Carolina.
So you want to basically support charities that have an on-the-ground presence.
Red Cross is just one of the charities providing in-person relief.
This disaster, we're going to be there for quite some time, weeks and months ahead.
Executive Director of Southwest Wisconsin Red Cross, Kyle Kriegel, says when donating, clarify what disaster relief you want to contribute to.
So if a donor designates it to go to Hurricane Ian, those funds will go directly to Hurricane Ian.
While some charities may look for food and clothing donations, Schiller says shipping physical items is not always the most effective form of relief.
Donating money really is the quickest way to help.
Regardless of how you choose to donate, Schiller says always do your homework.
Donate to somebody that you know and that you're familiar with.
Reporting in La Crosse, Stu Esrar, News 8 Now.
Now you can check on a charity by going to give.org. You can type in the name of that charity and it'll let you know if that charity is approved by the Better Business Bureau. We're going to post a link on news8000.com. Well, you can help some families a lot closer to home. The YWCA of La Crosse is accepting winter clothing donations through November 1st. They'd like new or gently used coats, hats, and mittens. They're all going to be accepted at a number of locations in La Crosse, including the People's Food Co-op and Larson's General. You can also go to news8000.com for a complete list of drop-off locations. And it won't be long, Bill, until folks actually need those winter coats. And when we say it won't be long, it really won't be long.
Looks like Thursday might be needing some jackets, and yeah, temperatures in the 50s and overnight lows in the 20s and 30s later this week. But until then, pretty mild. And looking at the month of September, we wrapped it up, of course, last Friday with that high of 70 degrees and that beautiful Oktoberfest weekend. 12 of the days we saw a below average high temperature, 2 days right at average, and 16 of the days above average. Now that was for the high temperatures. When you factor in the overnight lows as well, average temperature for the month, 65.2 degrees, so slightly warmer than average, by 0.4 degrees. Tied for the 26th warmest September on record. Hottest day was 89 degrees on the 20th, coldest temperature 33 on the 28th, and it was a dry month. 1.66 inches of rainfall is all. That is about 2 inches below average. And look at these stats. 23 of the last 30 Septembers have been drier than average here in La Crosse, and 8 of the 9 months so far this year have been drier than average. So it's no wonder we have a pretty good deficit in the moisture category on the almanac here. In fact, 24.44 inches for the year. That is 5.27 inches below average. So yeah, we could use some moisture indeed. 71 and 51 the numbers for today. Averages are 68 and 47, so a few degrees above that. Partly cloudy, 56 degrees at the airport, still 61 downtown here at the station. Winds are light from the south and east, and the Mississippi dropping 4.90 feet. Eau Claire, good evening to you. 52 degrees for you folks up there, and your wind is currently calm, pressure holding steady. Temperatures in the 50s and 60s across most of the tri-state, but we've got some 40s off to our east. In fact, 49 in Madison, 46 in the Dells at Volkfield, 48 in Sparta, 52 in Eau Claire, 54 in Winona, and 57 in Decorah. Again, winds are light or calm. If you are seeing a breeze, it's generally from the south and southeast at around, say, 3 to 7 miles per hour. Believe it or not, this low spinning off the coast is still kind of remnants of Ian. It's not tropical in nature anymore, but still some pretty good rain, say, from south of Boston down through New York City, New Jersey, down into the nation's capital as well. Otherwise, just some high and mid-level clouds here locally as I'm watching a cold front track towards us from the west and an area of low pressure behind it. That's going to do a couple things. Bring a chance of showers on Wednesday and usher in some much cooler air for Thursday and Friday. So just a mix of some moonlight, clouds tonight, same with tomorrow, sunshine and clouds mixed, but dry both days. And as we head into Wednesday, that's when that low gets closer, starts to throw some moisture into the area with a chance for a few scattered showers, maybe an isolated thunderstorm as well. Temperatures tomorrow still mild though, low to mid 70s, right around 73 in the La Crosse area. And as you can see here, most of the viewing area will see highs between about 70 and 76 degrees. So that is still above average. Another mild day in store for our Tuesday. So for tonight, not overly cool. Lows in La Crosse around 50, 73 degrees tomorrow. Still mild Wednesday. Chance for a few showers though. Small chance for shower Thursday, but the main story breezy and much cooler. Highs only in the 50s. In fact, lower 50s on Friday. And look at those overnight lows. 34 on Thursday night, 30 on Friday night. So we could easily see some frost and even freezing conditions those 2 nights, especially Friday night into Saturday, and then back in the 60s by Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. So this may signal the end of the growing season for many by Friday night.
All right. Thanks, Bill.
Okay.
Well, stay with us. We're talking Brewers and Packers and sports right after this.
News 8 Sports is brought to you by Mayo Clinic Health System. Whether you need routine care or treatment for a complex condition, Mayo Clinic Health System has convenient and safe options for the care you and your family need.
They're destroying America and our livelihoods. Now, DC elites are spending big on Brad Paff. The same Beltway bigwigs who wasted taxpayer money that bailed out elite golf courses and luxury hotels are now bankrolling Brad Paff's campaign because Brad Paff supported their big spending, price-hiking, reckless schemes. And that's why we can't send him to Washington. Congressional Leadership Fund is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Stop losing money through your old windows.
At Clear Choice Window and Home Solutions, we don't only have the style of window you want, we have the type of window you need.
Look at the difference between our windows and our competitors. Our triple pane windows with foam help reduce energy costs, outside noise, and improves condensation resistance. Keep your hard-earned money. Call Clear Choice Window and Home Solutions today.
For a limited time, receive 24 months interest-free financing.
When we got pregnant with Lizzie, we were so excited. So when the complications started, it was really scary.
We never considered ending the pregnancy, but those are the kinds of decisions only a family can make. But Derek Van Orden wants the government to do it, banning all abortions, even when a woman's life is at risk.
I'm Betty.
I'm Lizzie.
And I'm Brad Paff. I approve this message because I'll never stop fighting for your right to choose.
No one goes all in on made-from-scratch freshness like Papa Murphy's. Because when you go all in, people notice. Go all in with the Triple Pet Pizza for just $11.99. Papa Murphy's. Change the way you pizza.
With Choice Hotels, there's always a reason to book it. Whatever your reason, save 20% when you stay 2 or more nights at participating locations. Book direct at choicehotels.com. Terms and conditions apply.
News 8 Now Sports is brought to you by Mayo Health System. Here's News 8 Now's Rob Schiff.
Well, the Brewers had a golden opportunity over the weekend to gain some ground and jump into that third and final wild card spot, but instead the Crew dropped 3 out of 4 at home against the Marlins. So Milwaukee needing a sweep over the Diamondbacks and a lot of help from Philadelphia. Brewers got to take care of business first at home against Arizona. And good start in the second. Christian Yelich going the other way right here. Yelly, he's going to get this one over the wall for a solo shot. Just like that, it's 1-0 Brewers. Let's fast forward to the third. Brandon Woodruff on the hill and Cooper Hummel. He gets to him. This ball is tagged to center field, and that's way out of here. Solo blast ties the game at 1. And in the 7th, runner on for Sergio Alcantara. He gets all of this one. A deep fly to left center. 2-run shot for Alcantara gives the Diamondbacks a 3-run lead. It's a 2-run lead now in the 9th. Victor Caratini at the plate with 2 on. He lines one off the first baseman. It trickles into right field. 1 run's going to come in to score. Here comes Colton Wong racing in from second. He slides in safe. We're tied at 4. This one goes to extras, and in the 10th, tied at 5. Hunter Renfroe wins it for the Crew. He lines a base hit into left field. Brewers walk it off 6-5 the final. Bittersweet ending for Milwaukee, though, because the Phillies also won tonight, which means the Brewers are officially eliminated from playoff contention. Well, for the second straight week, it wasn't pretty for the Packers, but Green Bay gets it done again. The green and gold struggled in the first half against New England on Sunday, especially Aaron Rodgers. An awful first half capped off by this interception, just the 4th pick 6 of Rodgers' career, only the 2nd at Lambeau. But the second half, a completely different story for the Packers. 2 touchdown passes from Rodgers, including this one to Romeo Doubs late in the 4th. That tied this one up at 24. And then Mason Crosby, he's clutch. He ends it in overtime, a win that was a lot harder than most fans expected. But for the Packers, they'll take it however they can get it.
I think it's just another character win. I think those, an OT win that we haven't had in a while. You go down to Tampa and battle that way. I think it's just, you see, what a lot of guys are made of, and our defense came to play again, and we put them in some tough situations, and then when we needed to score, we did. So just another character win.
Packers head overseas this week. They'll play the Giants Sunday morning in London. Well, the sports news that's been sending shockwaves across the state. Paul Chryst officially out as the Wisconsin Badger head coach. This comes after a blowout loss to Illinois on Saturday, which dropped the Badgers to 2-3 on the year. Chryst took over in 2015, led the Badgers to 7 straight bowl game appearances. Chryst is a Madison native, ended up playing quarterback for the Badgers before he switched over to coaching. He's been a part of the program for a long time, 7+ years at the helm, and his legacy will always be a part of the team.
Couldn't have more respect for Coach Chryst, for who he is, for what he stands for his commitment to this place. First and foremost to our student athletes, to our players.
McIntosh says it was time for change, and that was the decision made for the future of the program. Defensive coordinator Jim Leonhard is taking over as the interim head coach. Leonhard will likely be a candidate to get the head coaching job permanently, but the university will still conduct a wide search. For now, Leonhard is focusing on getting the Badgers ready for the rest of the season.
I feel like I can take this opportunity and help this place grow, and that's why I came back a number of years ago, and that's why I haven't left, and that's the mission that I want to continue forward with our guys, and just getting them to understand the trust, the confidence we have in this group of men, that we will get this thing going the right direction, and it's going to happen sooner than later.
Leonhard will make his coaching debut this Saturday. The Badgers are on the road taking on a Northwestern team that's lost 4 straight. And a big shout out to La Crescent Hoka, the boys soccer team, with a big win tonight over Lake City, 2-0 the final there. The Lancers host Logan on Thursday night. That'll do it for sports. We'll be right back.
Did you know Tim Michaels wants to criminalize abortion, even for pregnant rape victims?
But are you willing to support exceptions for rape or incest?
That's correct. Is that the kind of divisive radical you want as your governor?
violent crime up across Wisconsin. Families nervous about their safety. Yet Mandela Barnes called for releasing half of Wisconsin's jailed inmates. That would mean releasing over 10,000 criminals right into our neighborhoods. 10,000 reasons your family would be in more danger. Barnes also supported defunding the police. 10,000 more criminals with fewer police to protect us. What could go wrong? Wisconsin Truth Bank is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Fall is the best time of year to apply grass seed from Menards. Schultz Sun and Shade Grass Seed offers superior resistance to insects, diseases, and droughts, ensuring optimal lawn care performance. All Schultz Grass Seed is 11% off. Now your furry friends can enjoy your fresh new lawn with innovative products from PetSafe. From pet fences to training collars and more, PetSafe has everything you need to keep your pets safe. Get 11% off all PetSafe products at Menards.
Save big money at Menards.
You protected our rights, preserved our freedom. You may have even risked your life for us. Now, it's our turn to fight for you. Your local Wisconsin emergency, energy, and housing assistance providers and the Keep Wisconsin Warm Cool Fund reward the service of our veterans with rental and energy support in their time of crisis. Apply today to get the fresh start you've earned.
Did you know Tim Michaels wants to criminalize abortion, even for pregnant rape victims?
But are you willing to support exceptions for rape or incest?
That's correct.
Is that the kind of divisive radical you want as your governor?
Well, how long do you keep leftovers? A few days, a week? Well, what about this? A Wisconsin man has held on to 2 frozen hamburgers he's had since 1987. That year, Rod Waters got the burgers through a promotion from George Webb Restaurants when the Milwaukee Brewers were on a 12-game winning streak. Waters and his wife are now preparing to move to a new home, and his wife does not want the burgers around anymore, so he raffled them off.
Due to my fog, I forgot I stood in 2 lines. I got 2 different burgers, and they're both in there. And the grand prize.
Yeah, and as you can see, that raffle bucket was full. The prize package also included 2 George Webb t-shirts, 2 can koozies, and 2 Milwaukee Brewers bobblehead dolls. Brewers fans would probably do anything now to be back on that 12-game winning streak now that they're out of the playoffs. We'll be right back to wrap things up.
Dear gas prices, my lineup brings serious savings. We got this. Toyota Hybrids.
Every new Toyota comes with Toyota Care, our no-cost maintenance plan.
Toyota, let's go places.
The radical left hate America and riot in our streets. They indoctrinate our children to hate America, stoking fear and envy with their lies and deceptions. Their radical woke agenda and divisive politics are tearing our country apart. Here's Mandela Barnes.
The founder of this nation, awful.
Mandela Barnes is a radical leftist. He supports their woke agenda that's causing you and your family so much pain.
I'm Ron Johnson, and I approve this message.
Oh, great. My wireless bill just went up.
Should have gone with US Cellular. They aren't raising prices on any of their plans.
Seriously?
Yeah, my price won't increase.
Well, that is refreshing. I feel like everywhere you turn these days, prices are going up.
Supply chain got us too. Don't get me started on the overhead cost.
At US Cellular, every plan for everyone is price protected.
You know, I respect a female entrepreneur.
US Cellular, where every plan is price protected.
I worked in law enforcement for more than 30 years. I know what it takes to keep our community safe. Mandela Barnes stands with Defund the Police and supports no cash bail that releases dangerous criminals back into our communities. Barnes supports sanctuary cities and spending millions of taxpayer dollars on illegal immigrants. Take it from me, the bad guys belong in jail, and Mandela Barnes belongs nowhere near the Senate.
Senate Leadership Fund is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Where does electricity come from? It comes from here. And here. And here. At Xcel Energy, we work to keep that energy reliable and safe by constantly monitoring and protecting the grid. Because while it's important where electricity comes from, we're just as focused on getting it where it's going safely. This is how the future is made.
Dear gas prices, my lineup brings serious savings. We got this. Toyota Hybrids.
Every new Toyota comes with Toyota Care, our no-cost maintenance plan.
Toyota, let's go places.
Well, enjoy these mild conditions while you can. Lows only dip to 50 tonight, 73 tomorrow, still 70s on Wednesday, but look at the roof. Thursday and Friday, highs in the 50s, overnight lows in the 20s and 30s.
It is fall, y'all.
It's coming.
All right. Thanks, Bill. Thanks so much for joining us. We hope you have a great night. We'll see you back here tomorrow.